very hard to arrive at some sort of solution. So I appreciate that you all have different angles of the problem you want to highlight, but help me to get to that. All right. So the panel gave me about 6 areas we should go to. People are speaking about finance, skills, productivity, energy sector issues. So please help me so that we don't just talk and go home. Right. So I just want to take 2 comments from the politicians. If you don't have anything to say, it's not a problem. It's not by force, right? Because the way the guys have set you up, if you talk, they may even fight you. Like the way somebody wants to do Sharia law against you. So, Haruna, if you just want to say, hello, I'm Haruna from MPP. We've had, and I will discuss it at our national meeting. I will be happy. You understand? You don't have to say anything if you don't feel like saying. But if you have something to add, please add it. Deputy General Secretary of MPP. Haruna.
Thank you very much, Bernard. Politicians are not just born politicians. They are technocrats who have moved to become politicians. So besides politics, we have our line of business.
Yeah.
And we do carry them out and ensure that we work through what we put through to be able to contribute to our culture, to nation building. I've sat through here. I've listened to a couple of presentations and opinions that have been expressed with regards to this particular sector. And I'm happy to say that I've worked within the Ministry of Trade for 12 years.
Is it?
Yes. And was Dr. Spiogabra has worked through the place, I worked in an agency,
okay,
the National Board for Small-Scale Industries,
okay,
where I represented Ghana in 2 different countries to discuss some of these particular activities. And I'm very proud to indicate that per the solutions that are being outlined here, one of it is trade intelligence,
okay,
that we need to be able to start thinking about our trade intelligence as to how to be able to deal with this particular tariffs, the global tariffs. And also the other aspect is diversification.
Okay.
And you did indicated that we should be looking at some specific areas, and you have put 8 areas across. We're trying to look at how to be able to narrow it down to sectors that we are able to deal with. I am of the view that we should regionalize the trade sectors so that at least we'll be able to have comparative advantage, so that regions that are very good in certain areas can be given the advantage to be able to produce, so that when you go to the north, this is what you'll be able to get through. For example, I've always prefer solutions or suggest that if you can look at the share industry, how to can the share oil, because the share oil is something that is very important. And one of the panelists have mentioned about anywhere you go, the share oil from Ghana, and it's something that people are so much interested in. I've seen that in India, I've seen that in Japan, and other couple of places that we've gone, that we have been involved in this Kaizen activity, which is Kai means change, and Zen change, and then Zen means for better.
All right.
It is something that all of us should look at, so that we can group the country in terms of regions. You put 3 or 2 or 4 together to be able to centralize on one aspect, so that these activities that we are going to do be able to contribute to nation building.
Thank you.
I think that this is the area that I want to contribute to, and also thank City for coming up with this particular activity.
Thank you, Haruna.
And other politicians will look at how to harness it.
Trade intelligence, diversification are your 2 anchor points. So this is what I'm going to do. The MP, you are the chairman of the committee on trade, industry, tourism, and something else. So do you engage with the ministry? I think the minister is in US already. And I think contrary to the advice of those here, basically they're saying we should have gone together, but she's there alone. I saw her shaking some man's hand. So my question to you as a head of that committee is, what is your locus? Are you able to influence policy, or are you more in assurance so that you check what they do. Do you understand my point? Because it's quite an important committee. Yeah. So just talk me through what the committee does and how you can help.
We do both. Let me tell you, some few days ago, we invited the trade unions, the trade associations. You know, anytime at all there is currency depreciation, they go very fast to make sure that they increase their prices. But anytime at all there is currency appreciation, which is not common, they remain like that. They don't reduce their prices. So this time around, the committee called them to come and tell the committee why there is currency appreciation and they will not do anything to reduce prices. In fact, they told their stories, and to a large extent, we understood them. They indicated that currency depreciation against the major trading currencies is only one aspect or only one factor that influences prices. But there are other sufficient factors that influence prices. So the mere fact that currency has appreciated against the major trading currencies doesn't mean that prices should automatically go down. That was what they said, and I think it was clear. Let me tell you that I'm happy City FM and City TV has gone ahead to organize this kind of forum. All that I have listened to here, seriously, I am touched. Having listened to Business Solomon's live, Dr. Ekospio Gabriel, Michael and others, our sister Mavis, I know that we have the brains. But the issue has to do with why have you not been putting all these brains together all these whiles? That is the question that occurred to me. We happen to be lawmakers. But all that you have said here, I feel that you can do all the nice things. If the law environment doesn't help, all that we've done will be useless. Why? Because you said you went to Togo, you faced some difficulties.
Yeah.
Women go to Togo to buy goods. We say, oh, well, because of ECOWAS, we have free trade. For that matter, free movements of goods and people. But do you go to Togo to buy goods and they are free? No. They are harassed all the time. So how do we make all these laws work? We must be seen to be making laws that create congenial atmosphere for businesses to thrive. We must be seen to make laws that ensure that there is indeed true movement of goods and services. We must make laws to back whatever agreements that we are entering into. So our lawmaking is very, very important. And at the end of it all, we'll do all this, we'll get the revenue, we'll increase production, we'll get competitive goods, we'll get the revenue, we'll create jobs. But if we don't strengthen our laws as far as corruption is concerned, everything, whatever gains we make, will be eroded. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So that was Alexander Roosevelt Hotoji, Chairman for Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee. I'd like to say that when I went to Togo, the immigration had a joint border operation. So I don't want to slander the border I used, the Ghana and the Togo people were working together. It was the customs part that I couldn't figure out, but I wasn't going there to trade. So it was actually very easy to go, because when I got to the border, the Ghanaian and the Togolese were in the same booth, collecting the same information, so it was much easier. In the past, I would have to finish Ghana and finish Togo. So some things are working, all right? We need to appreciate where we've come from so that it doesn't look as if. So there's a joint border at Akanu, which has a working thing, is the customs. Let me end with the Vice President's economic advisor. So these days, the Vice President's office is a very important office. And you are the economic advisor to the Vice President. So you are the possibly the second highest government official here, or not the first. So tell us something. What are you going to tell your boss when you go back?
I'll tell her Duncan is issued a fatwa on politicians. Right? Okay, so this is how you look at it. I think that we've had varied perspectives as far as trade is concerned, but timing is very important. I mean, as I listen to the panel, the fancy names, AfCFTA, AfTA, AfriExim Bank, and what have you. I mean, if you look at our AfriExim today, just a few days ago it was downgraded to a junk status. If it's not doing very well at all. So if he stands up to speak, where would his voice go? So again, timing, very important. You look at what's happening with AfTA and all of that. So, I mean, I think Michael spoke about the informal economy and local economy and what we could do. Anecdotally, there are big anecdotes we could harness around the room and see how we could, champion this. I speak to individuals who tell me, look, if you're able to bring 12,500 metric tons of rice, I'll get them into the Sahelian region and get my commission. This is massive trade. We're talking 12,500 metric tons of rice coming in. How is it going through the formal trade channels? How are we harnessing this? So what it tells us is that there's greater potential. It's about how we harness it. We talk about share every day. Share is still grown in the wild. It's collected in the wild. What have we done in the last 30 to 40 years? Where are we with that? You traveled across the continent, even with the existence of AfTA, right? Then you get to Kenya. There's a queue for COMESA. There's a queue for other African nationals. Where's the integration? You arrive in Kotoka, there's a queue for ECOWAS, and there's a queue for other nationals. Where's the integration? And we're talking AfTA. So there's so much work to be done with all of these fancy names in terms of connecting the realities and the tangibilities and practicalities of it. And without it, we'll still be in
So what will you tell your boss to prioritize?
And I cannot conclude as a government official without talking about the 24-hour economy.
Correct.
Right, because that's somehow, somewhat, if we manage to pull it through, would be a bigger solution here. I mean, most people always talk about the fact that they probably don't have, or they don't see the essence of it, wanting to see maybe brick and mortar to say this is the 24-hour economy. I give classic example. Airport Shell, it runs 24/7. If I'm in town and I want fuel, that's where I drive to late night or after midnight. Now, if there's a government policy that says, Duncan, and that's going to answer your integrated value chain question. If there's a government policy that says that after midnight, we're recalibrating all pumps, right, and putting X incentive or 0.5% of incentive on the pump that's going to go to fuel stations operating after midnight to be part of the 24-hour economy. It's just not going to board the economy. It's not going to be employment among other issues. There is so much to be done.
Elaborate on something for me. The president announced that from 1st July, the two major ports will operate as 24-hour economy hubs. And then he also added accelerated export development to 24-hour economy. What's the relation between 24-hour economy and export development?
Well, it's the same thing. It's just that you're trying to give key indicators of what is going to happen on the accelerated side of things and having clear linkages to import and exports to make clarity as to what government is driving as far as policy is concerned. So there's so much to be done. There's no color to this. Trade is trade. I mean, all of these tariffs we've seen happening, we're not really a part of it. It's been written on the wall a very long time ago that, look, we were not the focus of this. It's a wake-up call to all of us. I keep saying when USAID left, I said, look, they started telling us this by reducing aid budgets. Right? It happened with DFID, it happened with USAID, and JICA is only jacking up all of it because of military, among other issues. So we've been told that the door has been shut a very long time ago. It's about what we can practically do among ourselves.
Wonderful.
So it's about time we pull all the synergies.
Finally, when you go, I'd like you to remind the president that the National Economic Dialogue report that was submitted, we want to see it. Because I think the first week of March, the whole country came together to craft a national economic strategy.
It's really out there.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. I'll send you a copy.
Okay, I didn't see it.
I'll send you a copy.
Yes,
I've got one in my car before I leave.
How many people have seen it, the report? Okay, you alone.
Yeah.
So we want a copy.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I'm not, look, I don't have any problem. Imagine if I read that report before coming here today. I would have saved us a lot of problems. I would have just said, this is government's priority. Because I was the moderator of that event. So, but I haven't seen the report, so it's out.
I've got one in my car. I'll give it to you before.
You can even send a digital copy.
Yes.
Before we end.
Okay.
I'd like to invite.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's put hands together for him. Thank you very much. Prof. Ebo Texan, just 2 quick comments from you in summary. I can see a hand. I really want to close, but I see a hand at the back, so I'll come to you. Yes. Just quick thoughts from you. You taught me in industrial econs, and I got an A 20 years ago.
I walked in late, so I was not part of the discussion that took on.
Okay. But you don't have anything to say?
Listening to what I came to meet, I think that the discussions that have gone on so far tells that we know what we have to do.
Yep.
I mean, definitely. It's always a political will to carry out some of these very difficult decisions that we have to make. But I think that the bigger picture is how to build a very stable economy that has the resilience to withstand the shocks that hit us from external sources. Because if businessmen would reduce their price, they need to be assured that the gains that they are seeing are going to be there for some time, so that it doesn't reduce its price and the next moment the city is depreciating again. So economic resilience is key to all of these, because apart from that, the environment that our businessmen do business in is not very conducive and competitive. And I'm sure Mavis would have mentioned some of them. And I think that the focus of policy is how to support our businesses to reduce their cost of doing business in this country, especially with regards to government regulation and the cost that comes with it. Then also the utilities that we spoke about. I mean, we need to give our businessmen some incentive to sell electricity to them at a cheaper rate, so that they can generate more jobs out of that, instead of having to rather subsidize the consumers and not support the businesses. So that is also very important. Okay. And then we don't need to get worried about these tariff issues that are going on. Our concern should be how China is going to respond, because much of our trade takes place with the Far East.
Yep.
We've started reducing our trade with the US and Canada a long time ago. I mean, like the gentleman just said, it's just about 7 to 5%. We shouldn't worry about that.
Okay.
Our focus is how China will respond. If China is able to win that war, that is good for us, because we do more trade with the Far East.
Yep.
And then within Africa. So the AfCFTA is definitely an area that we need to take a look at.
Okay.
That is the only way we can support our SMEs to export, because the standards in Africa are relatively much lower than elsewhere. Okay. And so meeting those standards will not come at a huge cost to our SMEs, and they can use the African sub-region as a market for their, especially in ECOWAS. So, I mean, I think that the discussions so far that I've heard.
I want to just corroborate what you said. I just got a notice from Business Insider Africa, a story published 11th June, which is yesterday. China to offer zero tariff access to 53 African countries, excluding Eswatini. And the story says China has announced plans to offer zero tariff treatment to all 53 African countries with which it maintains diplomatic ties. So I think you're right.
I mean, so we should focus on that.
So that, and I think your last slide was quite instructive there. There was a hand at the back. I hope you are not going to ask any new question, that you're going to conclude for us, because I really want to close. So just give him the mic to share his views. Then I'll come to the panel. Okay, that's, oh gosh. I really want to close. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
But I'll make a tree, because I can afford a dozen.
Yati.
Yo, Yadamasi, CTFM, Niamaye, and the Mama industry, Etimia Konen me. Nia, the person be due to join and say, Ye Timmy, I industries, be a two coin, I call some of the exhibitions be a Yayo Asia and Far Asia, Nunano. And near maybe I expect to say, Bianca, Ministry of Trade, or maybe Buku Mama Yeno, Sanya Mana Emba, because. So Ushema, we call IFES, that was 2022. The government of India, as a sample, Amema, was setting exhibition center almost about 200 acres for every institution biara who year production come and do exhibition over there every year. And you know, a lot of people from Africa and then to exhibition and see what is going on, and then they will also come and implement it in their country. Yahana, what was the last time a bino a pavy way say yenye sa exhibition yenye bida ne beden yet me akoyanim. Even though grand waiting me akona wabano getting the raw material, no, looking for a letter of credit from the bank. None of banks are a work country ni bet me amayebi. Ne say the dealer okogye ni nyina be waste. A beden yet me create improvement. Ama yenuan ma omuso nya adwuma. All right. Eti mesremo se eba se bankers no ne Exim Bank ne wonu ma ba ne nyina wo mo ba ha na so betra no mo kasa bia ya support me. I quite remember say I'm from BBS Embassy, BBS Pharmacy. I'm the CEO. Who the letter they will ask you, do you have appointment? If you don't have appointment, they turn you out, which is not fine. It is a part of blockade. Broke the grown up. Ye pesi ye move ko yenim. Eti mumbie kwamaya employment ye be create. We have the men to work. We are not lazy people here. We are more than them. Eti yesramo mombo modi say mu be bie kwamaya. Now you open your doors. Na muntie sebe yenkwasi asem ye de beba no. Na munwe ho adwuma. Ibia na bi wo kra na nyansasem ba ko wom. Yes,
so, what can you say? Luckily, this program is streaming. We are sure the ministry is listening, and there are government officials here. So, thank you for that contribution. I noticed I didn't open the floor, so let me open the floor for a few comments. It's fair. So, BPS Pharmacy, thank you. He basically says that the government needs to facilitate certain things for them. He speaks about exhibitions that other countries do, and that our governments should create such opportunities, and also are receptive to the private sector in terms of giving them access to credit. So thank you. Yes, sir. So I see a few hands. I'll take some comments. So where's the mic? No, I need to call you first. So give the mic to him at least, so that we have a way of going. So give it to this man. You have to catch the eye of the speaker. It's very important. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Very good discussion. But one thing that I haven't heard in all this is... my name is Patrick Apoya.
Oh, Patrick.
Yes. I'm here in 2 Cups,
okay.
Scarfox Limited. And I'm also supporting. The man you said you like him very much.
Yes. So import export.
All right. So PNC will also talk there here.
Okay.
One thing I have not come out, and the closest I got was from here.
Yeah.
We are just assuming that before the tariffs, the trade regime was already favorable to us, and somebody is now muddying the waters. But that is not the case. We've all been witnesses to the fights and the struggles of civil society on the unjust trade systems, heavy subsidies that developed countries are putting into their exporters, and that will even come to Ghana's market and still be cheaper than what we produce here. And you would wonder how somebody can bring chicken, beef to be cheaper than what we have here, and yet we didn't have the courage to impose taxes that WTO itself allowed. That if it is to correct certain things that will protect your industries, you are allowed to impose. How many times have our ministers attempted to impose tariffs on rice, on chicken? And we had to chicken out immediately because somebody will get up and shout you down. Okay? America was the last country that everybody thought would get up and start a trade war like this. But where is Africa? Instead of them to take the opportunity and correct some of the imbalances that they couldn't do it on their own, we are rather saying, oh, Trump is starting a trade war. Are we not now taking the opportunity that now that WTO is disabled, we can impose all the things that we have been trying to impose that we never got a chance? Chicken should never be allowed to trade the way it is being traded. That's one front I want to alert all of us here, that there's more that Africa can do, take opportunity than what we are doing currently. The second one is, if you are talking about competitiveness in terms of pricing, don't just look at only the tariff now. The appreciation of the cedi is very good for Ghana, but it is very bad for export. Now, if you take the effect of export, that I now need to increase the price when I go to Europe so that I can have my cedi value. In addition to that 10% or 15% that is coming on top, that is huge. Nobody should write off that. How do we protect our exporters? Is it time that your D-levy, that you call D-levy, should we cut it into half? Half will go to support every export. Once you export, one cedi goes to, just like the example that my brother cited on the Shell operating after midnight. We need to begin to think some things like this to protect our exporters. Thank you very much. But the last thing that I would like to also add is, for financing to be broken to the SME level, forget about the current financial system in Ghana. Banks are hopeless when it comes to breaking that loss. Let's look at another financing mechanism, because the biggest barrier between me and the money that is sitting in ABSA is collateral security. They cannot compromise on that. I also don't have it. So we'll just be running in circles, in circles, in circles. DBG, I think you have an instrument through GESAL that does collateral something. The way you are coming to the front. It is so far the best intervention that will help SMEs. So look at the GESAL approach, how they support SMEs, and I think we will get out of this
Wonderful,
process.
Patrick.
Thank you very much.
Let's go to the back. Patrick Apoya. He's a comrade in the struggle. So go to that side, yes. The back. The gentleman, yes. That side. Thank you, sir.
Okay, please. Thank you for this opportunity. And I respect everyone here, especially from my father, I see Ekos Progabara and the others. Please, there is a problem on this continent. And there are three factors. The first factor is slavery. And then comes to mentality. And then comes to economy. Now, how do I break it down? When we were enslaved, we were given independence. Because our level of slavery, but the mentality was still in us. Before there were skyscrapers, there were pyramids. Before Oxford, there was Sankore University. What were in the minds of the people that they created this? Even though there was no Western civilization. Let's look at economy. We were the ones that first brought money into the world. What was the man that were able to create currency from this continent? So today here we are, discussing about how are we going to better our industries. Let's not forget that Africa was broken into boundaries. So that breaking from the top has come to affect you and I today. That we cannot develop our own countries and the continent. Whatever the economy will go, if we are not able to break away from these Western enemies, we can never grow.
Thank you.
Never. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm told there are some associations. So is it peasant farmers?
Bernard, no, this is from the People's National Convention, PNC.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, Bernard, you know, you asked if we have nothing to say at all. Let's just say hi. Okay. So I just want to put this across. Okay. My name is Mark Eusiakon.
PNC, go ahead.
Yes, I'm the National Youth Organizer
for
the party. Bernard, I think that as a state, we need drastic measures to mitigate some of our challenges. These are issues we've discussed over and over. I'm sure by then I wasn't born. Yeah. But at about the age of 40, it's as if we are still discussing these same issues over and over. And I heard Dr. Spio talking about some infrastructure that the Nkrumah administration built. For instance, the Black Star Line, the railways. So if after several years, we are here to talk about the good things they did in the past and today they are no more, then I ask myself, where are we going to? If we clearly look at the directive principle of state policy, which is a guideline to state objectives and responsibilities, it includes promotion of social and economic development, which government upon government after Nkrumah's regime have failed. There is one thing, if we admit that we have failed, then we'll definitely have a way to come out with a solution. We are to, as part of these things we are discussing, the global tariffs, from Dr. Spiel, we contribute about just 2% to the global trade, when it comes to export and the financial engineering. Just 2%. So we ask that. But as a country, we just asked that can we identify just 2 or 1 thing that we can major or master in? And we're mentioning a lot of things, like the jewelry, like the share nuts. Let me share just a simple experience with share nuts. I've had an opportunity to supply share nuts to a company in Tema called Woma Ghana. Woma Ghana produces fried oil. Now, if you look at the share nuts, there are about 8 products that is derived from share nuts. The only thing Woma use for their oil is the share oil. But the share butter, it is used for soap, for cosmetics, and all other products that we can talk of.
All right.
Now, if you go to Burkina, they have a lot of share nuts. The Burkina president have come out with some measures that no one can sneak share nuts from Burkina to Ghana. And so Woma Ghana is not able to buy share nuts from Burkina. Rather, the young man have asked them to come and build a plant there. So Woma Ghana has a plant in Burkina. And when they go to the byproduct of the share nut, the young man have asked them to just use the share oil. But the other byproduct, which is a 7 byproduct, he wants them because he's going to establish other companies and create jobs for his boys. But in Ghana, we sell the share nuts to the company, they extract the oil, and export all the other 7 byproducts to their countries, to add values to it. So the question is, why are we still where we are? The answer is very simple. We need drastic measures to make sure that we get solutions to
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There's a lady in front of you. Give the mic to her. I'll just take 3 more comments, then I'll wrap up. So the lady, and then 2 final comments. Then we wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernard. My name is Che Akosua Presla from Sambus Geospatial Limited. There's something that I want to mention. That is that there's a huge gap in technology and industry. Why? So the gentleman mentioned that cocoa here in Ghana is much expensive than what is imported. It's because in our cocoa sector, we are not able to monitor our value chain. And once a country is not able to monitor their value chain, automatically there are huge costs. There's production costs, there's ordering costs, there's holding costs. And as a person, you want to make profit. So that is why most of the times our cocoas are expensive. And I'm sure most of us here are leaders. Let us try push technology in our workflow. Because in Ghana, you realize that the issue starts with leadership. If we are going to go forward, after all we have discussed, it's leadership. So in our very own small way, even though we are not direct in the macroeconomy, in the microeconomy, in our local organizations, let us try push technology. And that is one of the things that we are doing. We are starting with the schools, the students, then we move to industry. So please, let us push technology in wherever we find ourselves. Thank you very much, Bernard.
Thank you very much. And